told you about that.
Did you actually go and watch it? Because I know that when we were in Ireland, you told me you hadn't watched it yet.
No, I didn't watch it.
You have to film yourself watching it. Okay, so we need a real reaction of you watching it as it happens.
Oh, my kids started fact checking me on that. They watched the Armwrestling one. They're like, I didn't know this. I didn't know this when I lived on a farm. I didn't know. And I'm like, fuck, man. Like, but the rise and fall title hurt me in my feels a little bit.
This friendly rivalry between two of the absolute legends in arm wrestling is definitely also one of the longest lasting. John Brzenk and Ron Bath have been battling it out on the table for literal decades now, and have both been and still are amongst the elites of the sport. With the two having faced each other an innumerable amount of times over the years, it's hard to say what their exact win-loss record is. However, it seems Brzenk got the upper hand over Ron in a large majority of their matches, and that's why...
You watch The Arm Historian?
Love that guy.
Hello, hello, hello. Good morning, good afternoon. Hello, hello, hello. Hope you're doing well out there in the arm wrestling world. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you might be. Hope you're having a wonderful Sunday. Welcome to the Arm Historian Live. Gonna do kind of a end of the year live stream here. Yeah, I've got a couple of things lined up. Most of it will be unplanned. I might go for a long time, depending on how it goes. Yeah, I've got my evening free. Just for you guys and arm wrestling. I just ate, so you'll have to excuse me. Atlantis, how you doing? Welcome, welcome. The Pyrean Spring, hello. How you doing, man? Welcome. Atlantis says little earlier. What up, man? Yeah, this is about 3 hours earlier than I usually go live. I figured I'd get one in when I had time. Yep, and I have the evening free, so I might as well do an extra long live stream if people are interested. Let's get some music going. This does mean the pace of the live stream will be a little slower potentially than usual. But yeah, let's have a good time. Let's talk some arm wrestling. We'll talk about some things that happened throughout the year in arm wrestling. Hey, Mr. Peanut, how you doing, man? Good to see you. Oh yeah, some of you might see like what is it, a super chat goal or something. Don't think you need to fulfill that or anything. It's just a new functionality that YouTube has, and I wanted to try it out just to see how it looked and how it worked exactly. So in no way do I want you guys to fulfill that. That's always totally optional. Super chats and memberships and all that is always appreciated, but I'll never be asking for it directly, or at least I'll try not to. So yeah, let's get some music going. I'll put on some background music here. And the first thing I've got lined up for you guys is quite exciting. It's a gift another content creator and notable figure in the arm wrestling world gave me, sent to me all the way from Australia. And I thought we could take a look at it together. I hadn't seen something like this before. At least I had seen it online, something like this, but never owned it, never bought some. I'll show it to you soon. First, the music. How was you guys' holiday season? How was Christmas and all that? It's also tomorrow. Yeah, we're the 29th today. Tomorrow is my birthday, so it's like extra busy. Yeah, it's like Christmas, my birthday, and then New Year's very soon after, so the season is always a little extra busy for me, I feel like. I'll try not to blast you guys' ears with the music. There we go, that should be fine, I think. Thank you for the person that keeps tapping the hearts, I appreciate it. So yeah, let's switch over to another view here. Here we go. So yeah, as you can see, Maximum Bang Series 1. Some of you might already know what this is just by looking at the image here. Well, it is a live image. Here's my hand. So yeah, we'll be looking at a series of arm wrestling cards made by, I believe it's a cooperation between Aussie Arm Wrestler and Uncle John. That's what I believe. I'm not up on all the details, but I'm excited to take a look at them together with you guys. Hey, Phil Woody in the chat, how you doing, man? Happy holidays, hope you're having a good time out there. So yeah, let's take a look at the back here. It says, so this is kind of a booster pack of sorts, right? But it is, how do I say this? It is a preset booster pack, so it's not like random cards or anything. So it says what it has contained in it, I think. Now there is some randomness to it. Yeah, so it says here, each pack contains one-time Aussie Arm Wrestler, one-time Uncle John, one-time Auden Leratte rookie card, one-time Ryan Bowen, and one-time Dave Chafee. And then there is some randomness to it because you can have a Dave Chafee autograph, which is exciting. 1 in 11 chance, I think that means. You can have a Ryan Bowen delusional variant, which I think is a smart thing, right? Kind of cash in on the delusional aspect. I don't think that's done with like Arm Wrestling Bible's consent, but I don't think they need it either, so let me enlarge my screen a little so I can kind of see if the cards are showing up on camera well. Yeah, seems to be. And then it says these variants replace their standard equivalent. So yeah, there you go. I'll be opening this pack. Before we do that, I might take a look at some of the cards that he sent along with it. This, by the way, was sent to me by Aussie Arm Wrestler, aka Jake. Yeah, very nice of him to send this to me from Australia all the way to Western Europe. Took a long time, took quite a while to arrive. Plus, at first, my country's customs wanted to charge me close to 40 euros in order to release this, because they said I had to pay like import costs on something I had bought from Australia. So then I kind of had to fight it, which was a 2-month-long process or something, just fighting the 40 euros import costs to show that this was in fact a gift. I had to show like my customs that I was the arm historian and that someone sent this to me who was also a content creator, and it was a whole to-do in order to get the cards to me like free of charge, you know what I mean? So yeah, it wasn't Jake's fault at all, and yeah, I thank him. Thank you, Aussie Arm Wrestler, for sending these to me. So let's have a look, right? He sent me a bunch of cards along with his booster pack, which I also appreciate, of course. I think it might be the entire series that he sent me, because there's a lot of them here. I'll just go through them in the order I kind of received them in, I think. I think they're just in a random order. So yeah, we have Marcio Barboza, aka the Phenom. Looking good there. I like the background, I like the theming they went with his cards. This is not an ad, by the way. As far as I know, they're not for sale anywhere. They could be, but I'm not too sure. Hey, the Claymore, how you doing, man? Good to see you. Welcome, welcome. So yeah, as far as I know, they're not for sale or anything. This is not an ad. Keep that in mind. Yeah. Marcio Barboza, it's got an explanation here. Let me see if I can kind of read that. Yeah, it's gonna be difficult. The Phenom Marcio Barboza has set the standard for power and speed in the sport of arm wrestling. He's the only athlete to pin John Brzenk and Travis Bagent on the David Letterman show on the same night. Okay. Interesting tidbit there about Marcio. Awesome. Put him to the side here. We've got the Wild Horse, Mad Mask. Looking good here. Like I said, I really like the theming of these cards. Like the background and stuff. Looks really nice. Let's take a look at what they say about Mad Mask. The Wild Horse, Mad Mask, is one of the world's most explosive arm wrestlers. Whether it's his fast and furious hits or his expletive-laden celebrations. Alberta's favorite son always brings ice to the sport. Jake has a few packs left for just $25. Interesting, okay. Didn't even know that. Thank you for the info there, Phil Woody. Arm Wrestling Fan, how you doing, my man? Arm Wrestling Fan, another very talented... I'll call you a content creator, because you are, right? You create content, Arm Wrestling Fan. But yeah, really talented guy who makes awesome arm wrestling illustrations. Done a couple of small collaborations with the guy. Would love to work with him on like a bigger video or something in the future. Yeah, really talented. Check his stuff out if you haven't already. Tomer, how you doing? Says, at the gym right now, wasn't expecting this. No worries, Tomer. You might even find me online when you come back home after the gym, because I might be online for quite a long time here. By the way, I'll just repeat for people who are seeing like the super chat goal. Don't feel pressured at all by that to like give a super chat or anything. I just want to try out like a new feature I saw on YouTube. I had no idea they added this, so I thought I might as well see how it looks and stuff. The Claymore says, any plans next year, Phil, about Phil Woody? Probably. Thank you for linking the Aussie Arm Wrestler's channel. Yeah, check it out too. Of course, Aussie Arm Wrestler, who very graciously sent me these cards free of charge. So I really appreciate it. He's helped me out in the past too with some live streams before. So big shout out to Aussie Arm Wrestler here. Next card. We have, of course, Todzilla. Yeah, really awesome print once again. I love the detail on like I'm trying to look for clear signs of like Photoshop hiccups anywhere, but it looks good, man. Looks clean. Camera is having a hard time focusing, but yeah, looks good. Let's see what they say about Todzilla. Let me try and focus the camera again. Not an easy thing. No, that doesn't seem to focus. Hang on 1 second here. Phil Woody will be competing from March. Awesome, Phil. How are you doing, man? With the pulling specifically? How is your journey into actual arm wrestling going? Hey, TOS Move. Good to have you, man. Happy holidays. Hope you're doing well. So yeah, Todd Hutchings, I'm having a hard time getting the camera to focus. Try to kind of reset it here. Maybe it's because the cards are slightly reflective. Especially this one for some reason. But yeah, that's Todzilla. Let's move on. I'm sure the camera will start focusing again in a little while. Lachlan Adair, looking good too. Aussie flag in the background. Had to do him proud, of course. Let's take a look at Lachlan Adair here. It's awesome that they have, yeah, these text for every one of the cards. There we go, camera focusing again. This Australian powerhouse is not only Oceania's #1 puller, he's also consistently clashing with the best from around the world. A must-see athlete under any promotion. Awesome. They're obviously hyping him up. This one. Oops, really cool. Uncle John and Aussie Armwrestler signed. Yeah. I might have to sleeve this card, right? Might be worth a lot in the future. Who knows? Looks good though. See what they say about themselves. John Thompson and Jake Ward. Come on, try and focus here. Strange that it has such issues focusing. It might have something to do with like the reflectiveness of the card. I think the cam is like picking himself up in the reflection. John Thompson and Jake Ward, Maximum Bang owners John Thompson and Aussie Armwrestler, have collectively become two of the premier MCs and commentators in the arm wrestling world. Keep in mind they're writing this about themselves, right? Maximum Bang Monday has become a must-watch show in the arm wrestling realm. You now own an authentic trading card signed by the Maximum Bang owners John Thompson and Jake Ward. So I have to believe this is kind of done a little tongue-in-cheek, right? Yeah, but really awesome. Again, I love what they did with the theming. Whoever did that did a good job, I believe. Yeah, looks cool. A little funny that they wrote that about themselves. Arm wrestling fans said should have been an anvil with Lachlan. Yeah, would have been cool too to kind of intertwine their nicknames into the art. But I like this. I like this. I wonder who did these. They're pretty good. Levan Saganashvili from the future says sup. What's up, man? Nathan, how you doing? Good to see you. Good to have you. Welcome to the Arm Historian Live. We're currently looking at some Maximum Bang cards sent to us by the awesome Aussie arm wrestler. The Jedi on his ambulance here. Looking nice. Here they did go with some of the theming, right? This is kind of a futuristic Star Warsy theming. So yeah, they kind of did go with some extra theming there. Now let's take a look. The Latvian megastar is one of the best ever to put his elbow on the table. They call him the Jedi due to his uncanny table IQ and his legendary top roll ability. Yep, that's Giannis. Looks good. Next up, Fiar Isaac, of course. What's the nickname they use for Fia? I don't think she has one, maybe, right? I don't know. Warrior, it says in the background. Multiple times, like with a fade out towards the bottom. Yep, looks good. Let's take a look what they say about Fia. Fiar Isaac from the hallowed halls of Sweden's arm wrestling clubs. Fiar Isaac stands as an exemplary warrior known for her ferocity at the table. Opponents should expect and prepare for a nightmare. I should use these small intros whenever I mention an arm wrestler in one of my videos. Steal their intros. The next one is Knuckles Up, and it's very interesting because, well, I don't know. It feels kind of like some of these cards are laminated differently than some of the others. You probably can't pick that up on camera, but the Knuckles Up one seems to be laminated more sturdily than some of the other ones. So interesting. Let's take a look what they say about Knuckles Up. Knuckles Up is a new and exciting promotion that is bringing the best talent to North America after their first 3 events. They are showing that they are a badass promotion that the arm wrestling world should be watching. I like that they incorporated some of these event cards. That's good too. Good call on that one. The next one, Chan Shaw. Tugboat. Yeah, I like this design a lot, obviously. It's very Very Chan Shaw, the entire design of the card. So definitely well done on that one. Like the color schemes too. Take a look. Chan's Tugboat Shaw is a stronghold of North America's new generation of elite arm wrestlers. At just 25, he has competed at the highest level. When not on the table, he operates the FAL with his wife and father. Interesting, together they bring arm wrestling across Florida and beyond. So that's probably the Florida Arm Wrestling League, right? The FAL, I would assume. Would make sense. So yeah, there you go, Chan Shaw. Here we go, Reno Masic, Croatian sensation. I like that one. Kind of went with the red theming there. Interesting. Yeah, looking good though. His arm does look very hairy. I don't know if his arm is that way in real life, but yeah, on the picture it looks like he's kind of a werewolf there. Let's take a look what they say about Reno here. Every once in a while, an athlete comes along who redefines what is possible at just 19 years old. Reno Masic has done it. There is no doubt the Pro Division will hear his name for many years to come. Indeed, Reno making waves at such a young age and keeps doing very well, of course. This is, I think, a reference to kind of a running joke in Aussie Arm Wrestlers chat, I think, right? Aussie Arm Wrestlers 2019 Melbourne Cup 80 to 95 kilogram third place. Left hand is the most coveted trophy in arm wrestling. Challenged by all the top stars and greats in the sport, this trophy has built a legacy of its own. I like that. Inside jokes. If you're a follower of Jake, you'll get this and you'll appreciate this. Let's take a look. Kalina here, Kalinichenko, looking very nice as usual. Went with kind of a, I don't know what you call that kind of background. It's a little trippy. Looks good though. Sergey looking kind of trim here in this picture. I think he's a bit heavier now. One of the most exciting pullers on the planet, his no fear style and Charles Bronson look is a must-see in today's arm wrestling. Kalina is a dangerous puller and it won't be long until we see him in the top 10. Yep, certainly true if he's not already there. Certainly true. For some reason I'm missing a couple of chat messages here, quite a bit actually. Because I only see the top chats for some reason. I'll switch over to the live chat. I don't know if... Yeah, the highlights are still working cool. Yeah, the Jedi is cool, indeed. Indeed. Fia is my favorite, says Arm Wrestling Fan. I would agree with Warrior. Yeah, that fits her very well, I think. Hey Jay says 150 kilogram Irakli versus Levan. I don't know if Irakli's frame would be able to support 150 kilograms, but yeah, sure, why not, AJ? I'd like to see it. Kalini Bronson, indeed. I think Arm Wrestling Fan made an illustration about Kalina. And I believe he even wore a shirt with, yeah, the picture on it. Looks very good, by the way. Here we have, of course, Malin Bergstrom. What's her nickname? Nightmare? The Swedish Nightmare? Is that her nickname? Really? And they've got kind of a haunted house in the background. That's an interesting one. Okay. Woody says Irakli was pulling 75 kilogram only a few years ago. Yeah. Very true. I don't think Irakli will be going up to 150 anytime soon, basically doubling his body weight. Don't think that'll happen, but you never know, right? Arm Arm Wrestling fan hasn't had a Swedish Nightmare in a while. Well, maybe this card will give you a Swedish Nightmare. Very interesting nickname there. Malin Bergstrom. This world-class athlete has been a nightmare in the women's division for many years. There you go. So that's how they got the nickname. Her explosive starts have ruined the days of many top competitors. Watch out for the Swedish native in the near future. Yep, looking forward to see her do well, of course. And then the last card we have here. The baddest. Malin and Fia. Two Swedish pullers. Very nice. It's good that they have like duo features on there. Now if my camera would work with me a little bit here, I can actually read this. There we go, two of the baddest women in the sport. This dynamic duo are entertaining, on and off the table, dominating on all parts of the globe. Fia and Malin represent Sweden at the highest quality. Nice. Very laudatory, of course. Yeah. Totally justified. Nice. We still have the booster pack left, and I will be opening it on stream. I've contemplated a little bit, should I open it, should I not, and I think I should, right? I don't know if there will be any new cards. I'm not too sure, but we do have a, let's see again here, a 1 in 11 chance of opening a autographed Dave Chafee. A 1 in 110 chance of opening a Ryan Bone delusional variant. So there you go. We're gonna see if we're lucky and if we can open a Ryan Bone delusional variant. That would be the ultimate pull. I think that's probably the rarest card in the set, right? So yeah, let's take a look. Let's open this up and take a look here. Hey, the Fearless Spectrum, Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you, man. It's coming up very soon. I do have a birthday, my own birthday, between now and New Year. So lots of celebrating still left to do for me. Let's see if we can open up this booster without actually damaging the cards. There you go. I see you, congratulations. Easy money, Dave Chafee. Congratulations. You are the maximum bang holder of a rare limited edition Dave Chafee signature card. Here we go. So that was the 1 in 11, right? Let's take a look at the chances again. Dave Chafee autograph 1 in 11. So yeah, very lucky there. Here we go. That's awesome. That's really cool. I wonder if it looks to be written on it for real. It might be print, the ink, I'm not too sure. Either way, it says it's an authentic autograph, so there you go. Yeah, looks awesome. Really cool. Arm Wrestling fan says, is there an Arm Historian card? I don't think so. But it would have made it easier for me to promote these cards. But yeah, I don't think there is one. And I don't know if there even should be. Tomer says, you better wrap that card in a protective seal or something. Yeah, man, I definitely will. I might even grab a couple of sleeves right now. Just to kind of do what you said there, protect it a little. The Fearless Spectrum says, congrats, hopefully you enjoy your New Year's Eve and the birthday. Thank you. Catalin says, early happy birthday. I appreciate that a lot. Arm Wrestling fan says the same. Nathan says the same. I appreciate that, you guys. Yeah, I'm gonna try and enjoy it. Yeah. Yeah, let me quickly go grab a sleeve here. Hey, Reno Message, how you doing, man? We saw you here earlier. Hang on, I pull up the Reno Message card if I can. keep you guys company while I go grab a quick sleeve here. Not an arm wrestling sleeve, but a collectible card sleeve kind of thing. There we go. Camera kinda blurry. Katalin says, Reno, are you a werewolf? Yeah. Reno, we wanna know. The people wanna know. Is your arm really as hairy as it is in this picture? Let me see if the camera can focus for a while. Can work with us here. Having a hard time again. But yeah, you do have really hairy arms in this picture, Reno. Are they as hairy in real life? Maybe it's a little exaggerated. Somebody turned up the texture. Hard to say. Thanks a lot, Tomer. I appreciate it. I'm doing well, Reno. Good to see you. Maybe. Didn't want to make fun of you, man, but that's a very manly arm you've got there. But yeah, we did get an Easy Money Dave Chafee autographed card. Very cool. Put him in a sleeve here for you guys to see. Yeah, looks good. Easy Money Dave Chafee. Wonderful. Probably means you won't be getting the coveted Ryan Bowen delusional variant, right? Yeah, I hope you're doing well, Reno. Of course, hope the recovery is doing well. I see people in chat have mentioned it. Yeah. I hope you can get back on the horse quickly. I'm sure you're wanting the same to happen, right? Let's take a look what else we have here in this booster. Another Dave Chafee, Easy Money Dave Chafee card. I think it's... I probably have to turn it like this, right? Yeah. Yeah, so that's the regular Easy Money Dave Chafee card, and then this is the special one, I think. So here they are next to each other. I wish my camera would focus better. But yeah, here you can see them next to each other. Awesome. The regular Dave Chafee card. Hey Bus Royale, how you doing, man? Good to see you. Here we go, Jake Ward, ready bang. Ready bang. Ozzy is the most on-demand MC / commentator on the planet. Ozzy's passion for the sport is contagious. It's impossible not to get excited when he hits your screen. So there you go. Ozzy Armwrestler card. And here's the coveted Auden Lerat rookie card. Cool, really interesting. Boss Royale says, show us the size of your thumb, arm historian. My thumb isn't actually that big, I think. My thumb compared to the rest of my hand is relatively small. But the rest of my hand is pretty big. I think, yeah, in the top, I don't know. The rest of my hand is big. But my thumb isn't especially big. Auden Lerat rookie card. Let's see what they say about Auden. But yeah, we have time on stream so we can do live measurement of hands and stuff like that if you want. I have a lot of time tonight. Auden Lerat's already coming out of the shadows of his famous father. No Limits Devin Larratt. The high school superstar is ready to make a name for himself. The prodigy, Auden Lerat. Awesome. Hope he does good things and continues to do good things, of course. Reno messages, I remember when Jake was taking my picture for that card. I just weighed in and I cut like 8 kilograms in 2 days for my match with Bacho. Well, you look very trim there. And I think it's a great shot, actually. yeah, you can kind of tell. But I think it's a great shot, man. And like I said before, they did a great job on actually editing these cards. You can see a lot of Photoshop artifacts in them, so that's always tricky when asking people to make these, but obviously, yeah, they spent some effort creating these, which, yeah, awesome. An Uncle John card in a classic Uncle John fashion, giving us the middle finger twice. Tomer says, well, witch hunts and stuff like that were not widespread in Serbia, so who knows? Reno's ancestors could have got by being werewolf. Yeah, maybe, who knows? Might have some werewolf blood in there, Reno. Boss Royale says, we need to see you in the next East versus West Arm Historian. Yep. Yeah, I just won the #1 amateur in my latest tournament, so I think that makes me about ready for East versus West, right? I think that's how it goes. You win your local amateur tournament, and then the next step is East versus West. John Thompson, the meanest, the nastiest, the javelin originator. That's a bold statement, Uncle John. Whenever you gaze upon the majesty of this card, remember the bums who had their arms broken because they got in his way. So very tongue-in-cheek, very yeah, self-deprecating a little bit in a way, while building himself up too. Yeah, I like it. Awesome. Here is Ryan Blue Bowen, our last card. It's not the delusional variant, which makes sense. We already got lucky with the Dave Chafee autographed one. But it is the Ryan Bowen card nonetheless. Let's take a look. Ryan Blue Bowen, the most ambitious or most delusional arm wrestler in the world. Love him or hate him, you simply can't stop watching Ryan Blue Bowen, and ain't that the truth? I think that's definitely true. He must be doing something right. Just look at his subscriber count, right? And just look at his face. How can this man not be doing something right? Awesome. Thank you once again, Aussie Arm Wrestler. Those are a lot of arm wrestling cards I own now, including a very coveted Easy Money Dave Chafee signature card. Definitely the best pull. Yeah, I think they did well. I think they did awesome. Thank you so much, Aussie, for sending this to me. I think they're still for sale. I think Phil Woody said something about them being for sale. And you need to contact Aussie, but I'm not quite sure on that. So yeah, there you go. Talking about Reno Message's origin story here. Let me quickly change the webcam here to a different view. If I can. There we go. And there you can see my #1 medal hanging there. Proudly showing that I'm the #1 amateur of the region. Boss Royale says, do you think Prime Siplenkov would have stood a chance against current Levan? No. I don't think so. Personally, I don't think so. I see a lot of people talking about it again. It kind of has these ebbs and flows of people talking about Siplenkov as if he is like one of the strongest arm wrestlers in history, which is of course true, but then comparing it to Levan seems one step too far, you know what I mean? Boss Royale says, arm historian, when you turning pro? Probably never, but yeah, I am happy to be being able to compete in the pros, right? I could before just enter the senior competition, but yeah, now I'm officially graduated from the amateurs. So now it's time to, yeah, go try my hand at some of the better guys, I guess. After about 3.5 years of arm wrestling now, something like that. Arm wrestling fan says, when Levan was active on left arm, it would have been interesting. Yeah, that might be true. That might be true. Dennis's left probably even more dominant than he was on the right. At least for a longer period of time. No, I think in general, competition on the left is probably a little less fierce, so someone like Dennis comes along with such a good left hand. That's probably worse than his right hand still, but still really good. Or just as good as his right hand. It makes it seem like he's even better on the left, you know what I mean? And compared to the left, to like the rest of the field, that might be true on the left hand, so yeah. Definitely do think he's up there, for sure. Let me quickly pour myself a drink, guys. I'm gonna be having a little holiday drink here. Leftovers from celebrations of weeks past. What's the drink, says Arm Wrestling fan? It's rum with some lime and some kind of soda I'm putting in there. I'm an expert, right? As you can hear. But yeah, rum with some fresh lime. And yeah, some kind of drink, sparkling drink. Tomer says, I've been skipping my pronator training for the last 2 months since the pronator is such a small muscle. Do you think I will be much weaker? I can't test my strength because I train alone. I don't know. I have some opinions on like the whole training your pronator thing. In my opinion, you should train your pronation and not necessarily focus on your pronator. Does that make sense? I don't think you should be focusing on like a relatively small muscle that might have some relevance in your pronation. I think you should be focusing more on increasing the strength in your pronation movement. Does that make sense? Because that's not the only muscle that's being activated when you're pronating in any way. Like depending on your angle or the situation on the table, you might be activating different muscles way more than your pronator. So yeah, I think it's more important for me personally, for someone on my level. I think it's more important to just strengthen your pronation in general. Just make sure that the movement is really fluid and you get really strong in as close to the movement as you can get that you would do on the table, if that makes sense. Boss Royale says, opinion on Vitaly versus Morozov. I think Vitaly will take him. I think that's not an uncontroversial opinion. I think that's not a controversial opinion, is what I should say. Yeah, I think a lot of people have Vitaly as the clear favorite, and I kind of agree there. I hope Morozov can make it a good match. Morozov has, for a very long time now, been the quote-unquote number one on the left, right? So it should be competitive, at least. But I do think Vitaly probably has a good chance. Tomer says, I mean weaker as an arm wrestler, not in regards to the weight I lift. Okay, yes, I know what you mean. I can turn my arm through other means, like the scapular, not just the pronator. Yeah, you're activating a lot of like, I feel like some people think if you have like a really strong pronator, like that muscle specifically, you're really strong at pronation or doing a pronation-based move, although that isn't necessarily the case. In my experience, at least. Cocktails and arm wrestling, there you go. Maybe I should rename the stream to that. It is quite tasty. Bossa Royale says, does anyone know if Unger Baev is coming back? I've heard some rumblings here and there that he's coming back for sure. I hope he comes back in good form. I love me some Unger Baev, how can you not? Right. Whenever people ask me about my favorite arm wrestlers, Unger Baev definitely makes the list. Definitely makes the top 5 or something. By the way, it's also like evening time here, so I will be eating every now and then, but I'll try and mute the mic whenever I do, so you guys don't have to listen to Arm Historian Food ASMR, right? Let's take a look at what Reddit's been up to, the arm wrestling subreddits. I'll also be opening viewer call-in, by the way, probably later on in the stream. I've got it ready to go. Should be ready to go anyways. I will be screening people, so if you want to call in later in the stream, just a quick note, try to use your the same screen name you use in chat, because if you do, I know it's you. If it's like a name I recognize, I know I can just let them in. Otherwise, I'll have to do a little screening moment beforehand. Let me see if I can pull up the Reddit, the arm wrestling subreddit for you guys. There we go. Talking about arm wrestling fan here. Take a look at this one. Monster training with the gorilla. Looks really good. I love his illustrations, man. They're really great. The eyes. The size of Devin's heart, according to Gennady. I would think his heart would be quite big, if you know what I mean. Wink, wink. Arm wrestling fan says, I wish I could see the Shadara matches. Yeah, I know which ones you're talking about. No, don't do it. Too late, man. I like the King's Move pronation that I did at Venice Beach, says the Fearless Spectrum. The Fearless Spectrum, I think I saw a video of you popping up on YouTube even earlier today. We can take a look at your channel, man. Take a look at some of your footage if you want. Boss Royale says, I quit the arm wrestling subreddit. To toxic, half of the posts are dedicated to Devinate. Yeah, you can just ignore what you want, right? To me at least. I don't engage with the posts I don't really care for. It's as simple as that. It's just, I'm pretty used to Reddit as like a standard social media platform I use. So it was easy to switch over to arm wrestling subreddit. It's not like I'm holding the arm wrestling subreddit in some kind of special regard. It's just I don't really use Facebook, which is where a lot of the arm wrestlers hang out. So yeah, this was kind of the only real alternative, right? As long as you get a kick out of it. Yeah, I love these, man, for sure. Good picture, yeah, it is. Tomer says, Devin complaining that Gennady is fat. Also, Devin, I want to be 300 pounds. Awesome, the Fearless Spectrum. Yep, I'll pull your YouTube up. Why not, man? Let me quickly do that here. So what's the next big event, by the way? East vs West, I guess? The next big thing? Maybe I'm forgetting about another event. Let's see here. Fearless Spectrum. I'll try to find your channel, man. Maybe you can send it to me in the DM. Or maybe a mod can post it if they have it. It showed up on my YouTube recommended, but I didn't save the channel, unfortunately. But yeah, I'd love to take a look at it on stream. The Fellowship of the Glove. Yeah, I like this one. Some of these are pretty good though, you have to admit. What do you guys think of the glove? Let's get your opinions in here. I'm gonna start a little poll here. It's a gauntlet, right? That's what they're calling it. Let's see, are you on Team Gauntlet or are you on Team Hammer? There's probably a Knuckles Up, yeah. Good point there, I should check in on that. Gateway Arms said, did you get a chance to check out the latest MAC tournament? Yeah, I saw some of it. For sure, I even got into contact with someone there a little. Yeah, might have something in the works. But yeah, I did check that out. Really interesting. Trying to change the game. If I type Arm Wrestling King's Move, will I be shown your channel straight away? Fearless Spectrum. Because yeah, hang on. Arm Wrestling Spectrum doesn't really give, yeah, here you go. Okay, I got it. Bam. The Fearless Spectrum's YouTube channel, go check it out if you haven't already. Gotten over the 1k subs. Awesome, man. Good to see a lot of content on here. More than 1k videos, which is crazy. Very prolific. Any video in particular you want us to look at? See what your most popular video is. Yeah, of course, arm wrestling with a female arm wrestler. That makes sense. Katie Hawks. So that's you on the right. I'm assuming the Fearless Spectrum. Arm wrestling fan is I'm Team Crown. Yeah, that doesn't sound too bad, maybe. Would love to see it. Tomer says, I think the Gauntlet is a cheap attempt to try and settle the Hammer conversation. Engin wants to replace it because he sees it as another league's trophy. I don't know. I kind of get it. I'm not like suggesting like Engin should adopt the Hammer as East vs West's trophy. Not at all. I think it makes sense that he wants his own trophy. Hey Neil Pickup, how you doing, man? Says evening Arm Historian. I hope you and your family had a good Christmas, mate. Hopefully 2025 is full of fantastic arm wrestling action and we'll see the sport grow even more. Arm Wars incoming, looking forward to that, Neil. Yeah, I hope if one day Neil is doing like an Arm Wars live event or something like that, I hope I would be able to attend it. I'd love to make my way over there and see it in real life once. Yeah, I'd love to buy a ticket to that if he ever does something like that. Gateway Arms says, I can't remember the exact numbers, but they were boasting something like 22 super matches in 4 hours. That's a lot. That's a lot, man. Yeah, so the one on the right here is our very own chats, the Fearless Spectrum. Tomer says, are you a Mario Kart fan? I can see the shorts in the corner. Yeah, man. I am. And also a Captain Disillusion fan, as you can see. Yeah, I am quite the gamer. I'll put it in cinema mode, just so people don't have to look at that necessarily. But yeah, I'm a gamer, and I do play Mario Kart from time to time. The Fearless Spectrum says, I used to lose. She's a professional. Yeah, I've heard of her. Gateway Arm says, I have myself Armwrestling Sarah Backman on my channel, and it was really close sparring. Cool, we can take a look at that too. I'll take a little more looks here at the Fearless Spectrum, obviously posting a lot. Like a lot. The Fearless Spectrum, let me ask you, what's your goal with the YouTube channel? Is it just like a repository for random clips you want to upload, or is it something you actively want to grow? Because, you know, you could try and change up the format a little. Maybe you have before. I don't want to be like presumptuous here, but you could try and change the format up a little. Because you seem to be uploading a lot of very short clips, right? Sweden Armwrestling Television, been a member for 50 months now. Freaking crazy, man. Says a happy new year, brother. Been a great year for both of us. Yeah, it's been an okay year. I'm happy, and yeah, how do I say this? I don't want to sound ungrateful. The growth isn't always what you would expect, right? Or some videos where you put a lot of work in don't always do as well as you would want them to, which I think goes for any content creator of any kind. But yeah, I've been happy in general, and I'm very happy to hear it's been a good year for you, man. Tomer says, does anyone know why the belts seem to replace the Ottoman-style helmet and shield? What happened to them? I have no clue. I do know Engin has been handing them out like crazy, as far as I could tell. Like handing a bunch of them out. I don't know, maybe got too expensive or something? No idea. Just speculation at this point. The Fearless Spectrum says, there's one of me and her. She was wearing a Santa hat. So, the Fearless Spectrum, I'm assuming you're in a club, right? I see here you're in a club. How are you doing? Like, what kind of level are you on? Because you seem to be going at it for quite a bit of years now, right? Yeah, you can definitely move. You can see here. Yeah. You're dynamic on the table, which is good. It means you probably have quite a bit of experience. I think this is the one that got recommended to me on the homepage. Facing bigger guys a lot of the time. Kinda letting yourself be bullied a little there in the setup. But yeah, good to see, man. Really good to see you're making progress and you're actually tracking that progress in a significant way, it seems. You're from Ukraine? Or the pro is from the Ukraine, I'm guessing. Tomer says, my favorite Mario Kart is Mario Kart Wii. You just can beat the classics. It's funny because a classic Mario Kart for me would be Mario Kart 64 or the SNES Mario Kart. Like the Wii is way too modern for it to be a classic in my opinion. But it is, in a way it is, because it's probably one of the most played ones, right? Just because the Wii was so popular. Funky Kong in the Bowser bike was my favorite. Yeah, that's kind of, Funky Kong is kind of the meta, right? As far as I understand in Mario Kart Wii. If you're not playing Funky Kong, you're doing something wrong there. The Fearless Spectrum says, get people into the sport. Well, that's good, man. That's really good. Yeah, I don't know if you're looking for advice or something on your channel. It's not like I'm some great example to follow in that way, because Sure, I could be doing a lot of things better. But yeah, you might want to look into maybe changing the presentation of some stuff, right? I'm cutting a little bit in some matches, in some footage, pasting several different footage together. I'm just thinking out loud, right? Like showing your progress in one video. You probably already do stuff like that, I'm guessing, because I see here you're kind of doing that. Yeah, I don't know. All I'm saying is don't be afraid to try new things. It's looking good already, so... Niels Index Finger, how you doing? Says, hey guys, love the content. I appreciate it, Niels Index Finger. If you're talking about arm historian content. I says, any advice or tips to help grow our podcast channels through the fingers? I can take a look at it, Niels Index Finger. I haven't heard of it, so... like I said, I'm not some kind of beacon of knowledge when it comes to content creation, but I did learn a couple of things. So yeah, I'm happy to take a look at it or listen to it in your case. And maybe give some advice where I can. I went to pro class lightweight, says the Fearless Spectrum. Awesome, it's hard to top roll tall people. Yeah, that's true. I'm usually the tall person in that scenario, but I've had it happen to me where I wasn't. And it's very hard, that's very true. Yeah, no worries, Neil Index Finger. You can send me a PM on Instagram or Discord, or hit up one of the mods to post a link. I can also look for the podcast. Maybe I can find it on my own. I'd love to take a look at it. The Fearless Spectrum, I'll play one more video. You recommended one. The blue shirt that I had at Venice Beach. Look up that one. I'm not gonna be scrolling through more than 1k videos that you posted to find one where you're wearing a blue shirt on a beach. I'm sure you understand. But I can look at one more here if you've got a specific one in mind. The title is Epic Match Ever. I'll take a look at it. I'll type in epic in your search bar. Is it one of these? Because like it seems like all your matches have epic in the title. It's probably this one, right? Armwrestling Beach. It's this one. Okay, here we go. Take a look at it, man. Hey, no worries, Niels Index Finger. What's it about? Like arm wrestling in general, or what is the podcast about? Upping the theatrics here a little, I see. Has to be done, right? See how you do. Arm wrestling someone significantly older also looks heavier. At least a little. Good holding there, good supination. Looking him straight in the eyes, I see. Give the Fearless Spectrum some love, guys. Check his YouTube channel out. Go and check some of his videos out. Clearly very passionate about the sport. Seen him a lot in chat. Yeah, posts a lot on his channel. Now the trash talk is returned, right? I'd love to do some man on the street arm wrestling videos. Honestly. Niels Index Finger says all arm wrestling, and we also post pulling content. We are part of Matt Mask's club. Red Deer Killers, awesome. Sounds cool, man. Probably I've already seen some of your stuff. YouTube recommends me all kinds of arm wrestling content, so probably I've ran across it. The Fearless Spectrum says I could static hold 100-pound dumbbells. Awesome, man. That's what I'm doing for reps these days. Mind games. Yeah, man. Looks good. You've got a camera, man, which is more than I have. But yeah, I'd love to do some live pulling content too. Yeah. Someday I'll do something like that. I just want to have it prepared. Plus, I live in a country where filming in public is kind of iffy. You have to have all kinds of releases and stuff. Yeah, it would be cool too. I've already, like you guys are talking about pulling each other, hoping to run into each other. I've already pulled with a couple of people I know from chat, and it was a really great experience. So, yeah, I hope I can do more of that in the future. I'd love to. I keep repeating this. I keep saying this in different live streams, even from day one. I think I'd love to do some kind of content creator cup sometime in the future, where it's just not professional arm wrestlers, like not Devin Lerat and like Voice of Arm Wrestling and stuff, but amateur arm wrestlers who make arm wrestling content, like myself, who enter into an arm wrestling league of some sort, an arm wrestling tournament. I'd love to see that. Hopefully, if it ever does happen, it won't be too far away. I think I can do well. Probably not win it, but I think I'd be quite confident in doing at least pretty well. Awesome, the Fearless Spectrum. Tomer says, I've never understood how people are just okay with being filmed in the UK, although perfectly legal in social situations. It's frowned upon. Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, like, ironically, I don't have any issues being filmed myself, necessarily, but I would have issues, like, pushing the camera in people's faces, you know what I mean, basically. People who haven't consented beforehand. It's also illegal where I live to do that, especially if you're gonna publish it, but yeah. Looking good, the Fearless Spectrum, looking really good, man. I like it a lot. You're doing well. I seem to be making progress. I hope you keep your YouTube channel up. I would encourage you to start experimenting with editing maybe a little more. I think it could elevate your content if you kind of create a storyline throughout, right? It doesn't have to be necessarily a very long video, but if you put some effort into creating like a narrative that people would feel attracted to exploring, you know what I mean? Kind of an interesting narrative in your video. Maybe start with a question or something like that, or positing an interesting statement, and then editing your video around that. I think that could work wonders potentially. So just a little suggestion. Of course, you can do whatever you want. You uploaded a lot more videos than I have, so you clearly kind of know what you want, right? Arm Wrestling Fan says you'd win. I wouldn't be too sure about that, Arm Wrestling Fan. I wouldn't be too sure about that. There's probably some content creators that are pretty good, right? Some amateurs. Marco C says, where are you from, Arm Historian? Take a wild guess, Marco C. I'm from Western Europe. I've never been too specific where I'm from, but it's kind of... I think a lot of people know by now where I'm from. But it's always interesting to hear people guessing based on my accent, where I live. German Game, how you doing, man? Good to see you. What's up, what's up? Arm Wrestling fan says he's from Armenia. Yeah, I might as well be, right? Just everything that has arm in the name. Hey, no worries, the Fearless Spectrum. Like, don't take it as critique necessarily, right? Because, like I said, I'm not like some beacon of knowledge when it comes to content creation. If I was, then my channel would be doing a lot better than it is, right? But I think you can't do anything wrong by exploring some new stuff to try out, right? Especially if your views are kind of stagnating over a while, I think it pays off sometimes to try something new. At least that's how I try to approach my own content creation journey, so to speak, right? Gennady is the favorite against Devon, thinks Hermes. Interesting. Interesting. I know a lot of people have Devon as the favorite, which, you know, last time they faced each other, Devon didn't win. Although I know a lot of people will be trying to argue that he should have won, or that he maybe did win if the rules were enforced better. At the end of the day, he didn't win. And Gennady came out a better man that day, so... yeah, what's to say that won't happen again? Hey, School Ladyboy, how you doing? Welcome, welcome to the end of the year Arm Historian live stream. Hey, Lat Rousseau, good to have you. Normally I go live 1.5 hours from here, but I figured I have a lot of time tonight, and I've been promising a holidays live stream, so here it is. Did I miss it, said Lat Rousseau? No, I'm still online. I'm not planning on stopping in the next minutes or something like that, so we're all good. We're all good. Just taking a look at the Arm Wrestling subreddit, we've been taking a look at some content. I'm probably gonna take a look at a podcast someone recommended in chat, someone's working on. If I can find the name again, it was something with finger, right? Or through the fingers or something? Remind me again, Niels Index Finger, what was the name of the podcast? So I can look it up. If you're still here. Yeah, normally I go live way later today, but I figured I'd just do an extra long live stream. I think we've been live for an hour now or something like that, so yeah. I figured I'd do an extra long live stream, grab myself a drink. We've opened some Arm Wrestling cards at the start of the live stream. And then we've been kind of talking about all kinds of things Arm Wrestling related. I'm gonna try to make a video too, by the way. Maybe tonight or tomorrow. Although I do have my birthday tomorrow, but I'll try to squeeze it in somewhere. A video kind of wrapping up some thoughts I have about Arm Wrestling during the last year or something like that. I don't know yet if I'm gonna post it on the channel or if I'm gonna post it just as like members, an exclusive members video. But either way, I'll be doing some of that stuff with my free time today and possibly tomorrow. Tomer says people can't complain about the rest in regard to Devon's loss. You think Devon had a fair grip against Gennady? He for sure had a perfect setup. Yeah, I'm usually not one to like say this person deserved to win even though he didn't win. Like to me, the ref's call is still at the end of the day the final call, right? So through the fingers, bro. We love talking bro science. Do you talk bro science with a skeptical lens, or what's the deal there? Because I love talking bro science, but I'm a very pro science person, not necessarily a very pro bro science person. So, German Game, how you doing? Says I would just say the Levon versus Jerry match was anything surprising. Nope. My thoughts on any Levon match is Levon will win. I go into any Levon match with the thought that Levon will win. I've been disappointed way too many times to still root for the person going against Levon. At this point it doesn't make sense anymore, right? So I wasn't surprised in the least. It made sense to me that Levon saw through Jerry's move. It also made sense to me that Jerry is a pretty one-dimensional puller, but even if he wasn't, I don't know if it would have made much of a difference, to be honest. Latrousseau says, I was surprised Jerry didn't try anything different to slip at least. I'm sure Jerry is technically able to do different moves, but I don't think he's able to generate the same amount of power in those moves, and against Levon, you kind of need that, right? Technical stuff on the table. Interesting. Okay, yeah. So very geared towards arm wrestling specific technical stuff. Okay, yeah, that's interesting. Jerry looked like in a trance at Latrousseau. Yeah, it's kind of the Levon effect, right? People looks kind of shell-shocked the first time they pull Levon. Looks like a lot of the times. Which is understandable. I wouldn't even know how to begin trying to imagine how to win against Levon, right? As a puller. He even talked how he got a good outside slip. I'm sure he did talk about that. Tomer says Levon is gonna be on top for years to come. He hasn't even been pinned once. He still needs to get pinned once, then twice, then 3 times, then 4 times in order for him to go down. He did get pinned a lot of times in his career, to be fair, Tomer. Not since 2017, I guess, technically. Lazik, how you doing, says your thoughts on Todd versus Hermes. Huh. I think Hermes will win. Yeah, I think so. Don't forget that Hermes pulled Michael Todd before, and I think he'll be way better prepared than he was before. They both obviously evolved as arm wrestlers and are probably both stronger than they were then, although for Michael Todd that might be arguable. But probably they're both better and stronger than they were then. But I think I have to give the edge to Hermes there. German Games says, do you think Hermes has a chance to win in the future? I'm assuming you mean against Levon. Yeah, definitely. Whether or not that's going to be at a point where Levon isn't quite the puller he is now, I can't say. But yeah, definitely judging by their last match, I think Hermes is probably one of the people who's got the biggest chance right now of defeating Levon, I think. Niels Index Finger says training techniques and love breaking down matches. Awesome. Yeah, that does sound good. I'll look it up right now. I won't be listening to an entire podcast episode on my live stream, obviously. But I'll show the people the channel. Always interested in seeing arm wrestling content, especially if they're trying something different. Like you guys seem to be. Through the Fingers. Let me see if I can find it. I'm assuming it's on YouTube, right? Through the Fingers arm wrestling or podcast. I'll try that. Through the Fingers podcast. There we go. Awesome. Seem to have put some work into your channel presentation, which I always appreciate. Damn, you've got a lot, man. A lot of episodes already. So, yeah. So these are all live, right? You guys do them live? Interesting, okay. To me, like the difference, maybe it's like just semantics, right? Because probably you can both classify them as podcasts. But to me, like a podcast is like edited. And a live stream isn't, usually, right? But yeah, essentially they're both the same things. Or they can be. Damn, you guys got a lot of live streams. Yeah, I'll keep up to date with it. I'll definitely take a look and hopefully make it to your next live stream. Do you guys have a schedule or something, or is it just whenever you have time? Latrousseau says MMT gonna crack that wrist. Maybe. Potentially. Still need to learn a lot more about social media, says Niels Index Fingers. Yeah, you and me both, guy. You and me both. I'm still such a noob when it comes to TikTok, for example. I'm like, know literally nothing about it. Instagram, I'm getting better, but still not good by any stretch of the imagination. Facebook, I just ignore for the most part because, I just don't like it as a social media platform necessarily. I never use it in my own time, so it's hard for me to get invested into doing well on Facebook as a content creator. Although I should be putting more time into it because I know a large part of the Armwrestling community is on Facebook. If anyone is listening right now that is like knows a lot about Facebook and putting their stuff on there, etc., etc., hit me up. Feel free, if you have time, to hit me up and give me some pointers in that regard, because I desperately need them. Tomer says, I think it's weird how Vitaly has been on a separate path than Hermes and Devon, while Hermes and Devon get the big names. Vitaly has been off on the side. I'm surprised he doesn't get more matches in East versus West. Yeah, I don't know. Is it political? I don't think so necessarily. I don't know why. Maybe it's just harder to get someone to agree to a match with Vitaly. I think that's what Vitaly always has claimed. Podcasts can be live. Yeah, for sure, Latrusso. For sure. I'm not saying they can't. I'm just saying usually that's where I would differentiate between podcast and live stream, right? But yeah, podcasts can definitely be live. Maybe a better differentiator would be one is sound only and one is video. Something like that, but I do agree the lines have blurred, right? And I don't think it's a distinction that we necessarily should uphold or something. Hey, Niels Index Figure, thank you so much for the membership, man. I appreciate it a lot. You didn't have to do that, but I do appreciate that. Thank you, thank you. Enjoy some of the exclusive member content on my channel, and of course, all the emotes you can now use. Yeah, keep it up, man, the channel. I'm gonna be listening to some of it, and definitely if there's one that's going on live, I'm gonna try and make it there. Hey, no worries, man. Seriously, you don't have to like financially show your thanks for shouting out your channel. Yeah, I'm always interested in Armwrestling content creation, especially if the channel is relatively small, but obviously has a ton of work put into it. I think that definitely deserves a spotlight, right? And I don't need like monetary compensation for that in any way. But I do appreciate it. I appreciate you supporting me too. Thanks for that. Armwrestling fan says Nerdlet won his match 3-0 against Hezbollah, and Danyar won his 3-0. Interesting, in the Kazakhstani league, right? Latrusso says Vitaly pulled Hermes, Levan, Morozov. I think he was supposed to pull Jerry too. Would have been a tough match for Jerry, I think. He pulled Dave twice even. And that was a really good match. Bobert says, last time asking, will you ever do a Rise and Fall for Taras Ivakin? Really hoping for it. Yes. Yes, for sure, Bobert. And you can ask me as many times as you please. I don't mind. I will be doing an episode on Taras Ivakin. I can give you a timeline for that. All videos I make, especially Rise and Fall videos, take a really long time to make. I've had a lot of time during the last month, so I've put out more videos than I usually do. But yeah, all videos take a really long time to make, so I kind of have to plan everything. There's 2 very big videos I'm working on right now together with a friend of mine, also a chat member. And I'm going to be trying to push them out, but Taras Ivakin is definitely on the docket. Hopefully sometime during the next months, right, if I get to it. Latrusso says today most podcasts have video also. It changed a lot. Yeah, that's certainly true, Latrusso. Like I said, the lines have blurred between live stream, podcasts, or like a video cast, I guess, however you want to call it. We have had Antodzilla, Pauline, Auden Lerat, Cody Merritt, and many others. Awesome. Those are good guests, man. I've said this many times before too, I need to put more effort into getting more guests on the show. Latruso says, Trav has been making his first podcast episode for over a year now, I think. Yeah, that's certainly true. I know what you mean there. Hey, no worries, Bobert. Thanks for popping in with that question. Liberal Swine says, what do you think about the Arm Havoc 3 event? I found it amazing the matches progressed very quickly because of strict refereeing. I feel that suits more for mainstream media. I think a lot of people are looking at shorter downtime as the main way of progressing the sport to new people, right? And in my opinion, that makes a lot of sense. As some of the regulars might know, I've talked about this quite a bit, where I think that's the best way to get in outsiders into the sport. I think you lose a lot of people by potential downtime, right? Especially looking at, like, some things are really egregious, where almost all the regular setups, nice Dragon Ball Z shirt, by the way, almost all the regular setups go to res grip nowadays. In my opinion, it's very rare in super matches at the highest level to see two athletes not go to the res grip. Why not just go to the res grip straight away? I know to a lot of purists, quote unquote, it will seem like we're diluting a very technical aspect of the sport, and to a degree that might be true, but at a certain point you kind of have to weigh watchability versus keeping things as they are, right? And I think that's one of the things you could just get rid of altogether. Just go straight to the rest group. It's the way I look at it. Latruso says, maybe they didn't allow Russian and Georgian athletes to pull against each other. I know Vitaly couldn't get to the US event. Yeah, that's why I mentioned maybe it's of a political nature why Vitaly couldn't pull. Although, I don't know, he's pulled in many other events. So, not quite sure if that would be the reason there. Limo Swine says Arm Havoc has the set grip instead of res grip. I think that is more fair and faster. Definitely better. Yeah. Absolutely res grip right away, says Latrus. So yeah, I think it's just... I don't think we'd be losing that much, to be fair. Especially at a level that high. I don't see a lot of matches not going to the res grip, if you know what I mean. Guys, I've been going for a little over an hour here, or how long have I been going by now? Nearly an hour and a half. I'm gonna take a quick toilet break here. But yeah, I'll be back in a minute or two, or even quicker. I'll do my best to be as quick as possible. Be right back, guys. I'll put on some of my shorts in the meanwhile. Sheer numbers, it's safe to say nobody really comes close to John. However, in a survey... Here we are back again. Sorry for the delay, guys. all freshened up. Pakoji says, I sort of enjoy the formality, but rest grip right away wouldn't be bad. Yeah, I know what you mean, man, and I think there's a place for it, right? Especially, I enjoy during training too, trying to get the best setup, stuff like that. And at tournaments it might have a place, but I think in like the highest level super matches, people are smart enough to not, like, think about it this way. One person is always gonna feel like they're not getting the best grip, right? One person is always gonna have at least a slightly worse grip during the setup. And I think a lot of pros, like most of them, wouldn't want to start that way. So one person is always gonna want to go to rest grip, in my opinion. So just go there straight away, because it's unenforceable to, like, you have to take a grip, you have to do this. It's unenforceable when one guy is getting the better grip right away. Yeah, just go straight to the rest grip, in my opinion. Niels Index Finger says, set grip I feel helps hookers because they tend to start a little carved. Yeah, but that seems to be more an issue with how set grip is set up, right? Then you need to change the way the set grip is set up. Gateway Arm says, make sure to wash your hand. I always do, man. Also my two regular hands, not only my head hands. Yeah, I'm sorry about the audio. I saw that the audio wasn't on for the shorts, my bad. Tomer says, what's the difference between set and rest grip? As far as I know, in the set grip, the athlete gets to have a pretense in depth or height, but in rest grip there isn't. And Limo Swine goes on to clarify, in the rest grip, the refs place your hands. The first person to close has an advantage. Also, they tend to lower the riser a lot in set grips. The athletes close at the same time and not cover knuckle. Yeah, there is a difference. That's mostly there, but I don't know if I agree necessarily. The first person to close has an advantage always. That isn't always the case. I think that's more a function of how certain refs deal with the rest grip, right? Pakwaji says, gripped up with a buddy today. He dominated me last time we pulled, but couldn't move me today. Felt awesome to see improvement. Awesome, man. It's always really great to see improvement on the table. Yeah. It's a great feeling when you start going to tournaments and start off losing a lot, but then eventually start winning more and more till you win your class. Awesome feeling. Latrusso says, speaking of starting carved, was Levon starting carved versus Jerry, or was I tripping during the match? Might have been a little of that, but I think in general he didn't really need to. Because Azuri says, arm historian tore my elbow off last night. Sup, guys? What an intro there. Because Azuri, one of my regular training partners and very good friends. Yeah, and we did pull a little last night, a little inebriated pulling there. Luckily, he's exaggerating a little bit. Niels Index Finger says, I always like my pronation active in the setup. And with the set grip, they kind of take that away. Rest grip, I seem to be able to keep pronation active. It's very difficult, right? Because there's certain subjective aspects to the sport that I think are very hard to get rid of, even when you do go to a rest grip or a set grip. Because a lot of how it is applied depends on the ref, right? I felt a difference in setup depending on the ref. There's been refs who were very, very strict in even the slightest movement. And then there were other refs where I could basically start posting already before the go. And who didn't say anything. So, yeah, have been very, very big differences in that way. Because Azuri says, a little drunky pulley. Yes, indeed. And even though I'm very far from drunk right now, I am enjoying a little drink during the live stream too. Tomer says, I need to go for a couple of minutes, but I'll be back shortly. All good, Tomer, no worries. Yeah, indeed. A lot of it is dependent on the ref. Yeah. Niels Index Finger, by the way, I don't know if it would be of any value to you guys or if you would even want to, but if you ever want to have me on your podcast, or if you think it's a subject where I could offer something of value, feel free to hit me up. I'm always down. Like, I don't get asked at all by any content creator to come on their live streams. While it's something that I'm very open to doing, I think I would make a lot of time for people if they would ask me. I don't know if my opinion necessarily holds a lot of value to them, but I definitely be willing to jump on any podcast at any time if it's arm wrestling related. Jeez. Nice. Does anyone have a street fight video of Gennady Grivinia? He talked about that fight in many videos already. Interesting. Street fight video of Gennady. Ukrainians training together, good to see. I like it. Vitaly's hook strength. Interesting. Huh. Can actually measure. I think that's Matyushenko, right? Handing the pulley over to Vitaly. Interesting device. Yeah, I would love to try one of those. Yeah, no worries. I would love to, man. Just hit me up on Instagram or Discord or wherever you want, and I'm happy to make me available. Latrousseau says, because all the arm wrestlers are butthurt about your fall title. That's actually not really true. I know for sure Michael Todd won't be asking me on his live stream anytime soon. But yeah, there's been a ton of people that I've made videos on and had very positive interactions with afterwards. Like Krasimir was very laudatory about my video on him. So was Matt Mask. Yeah, I don't think Devin is... I'm very friendly with Devin, even though I've been critical of him in the past. I think most guys get it, most of the top guys. The only person I've had like kind of a negative interaction with was Michael Todd. Or more, to be more clear, Rebecca Todd. She didn't have a lot of nice things to say about me, let me put it that way. But even with Michael and Rebecca, I don't have anything against both of them. I like both of them, even though they might not like me. Arm wrestling fans just want to check out my last caricatures for fun. I did Dennis Angerbayev and Fia. Yeah, for sure, man. Good call on that. Let me hop over to the gram real quick. That's how young people are calling it, right? The gram. Here we go. First on my recommended. So yeah, if you guys haven't checked him out, if you're on Instagram, or I believe he's on most social medias, right? Al Omega Rich, aka Arm Wrestling is Great, aka Arm Wrestling Fan, I think. There's a lot of monikers he uses, but yeah, he makes these illustrations, which I think are just great. He's also very prolific. Like this one, sometimes we do a little collaboration. Kind of been our thing. So yeah, definitely check him out. He does awesome things. Like, I love this one. It's like a little map on Levon, where his hair are like the forest. It's like the forest and stuff, and the road, all kinds of things. Yeah, I love his stuff. Very creative, very prolific. Puts out a lot of things. Yeah, I love it. It's very telling and very funny that your caricature on Donald Trump has by far the least likes. Maybe it makes sense because it's not arm wrestling related necessarily. But it is very interesting. I loved it, by the way. I liked it from the start, but yeah, interesting. Niels Indexfinger says, we built our platform for all levels of arm wrestling, and it's all about people's story and their passion for arm wrestling. Awesome. What time zone are you in? I'm in GMT +1, I think, or CET maybe, Central European Time. Let me quickly check that. I think that's the time zone I'm in. Yeah, I'm in CET. Latrusso says, oh wow, these are really cool. Too bad I uninstalled the gram. Trump would be a hook puller or a presser? I have no idea. You'd have to ask a arm wrestling fan. But yeah, I love these. Yeah, been a fan of arm wrestling, fan or Al Omega Rich, however you want to call him, since the start. Since I've gotten to see his stuff, so yeah, he does great things. He uploads a lot. Has a lot of, like, this looks like a stippling, you call it here, like a pointillize or pointillism. Yeah, there you go. Okay, stippling. Yeah, I thought it was pointillism too, but interesting. Looks really nice. His stuff is really cool. Yeah, love it. Like I said before, I'd love to do like a collaboration on a bigger scale. I don't know what that would look like, or if Al Omega Rich would be at all interested. But yeah, I'd love to do something. Like maybe use an illustration he makes in one of my bigger videos or something. I don't know. Do something with it, at least. Would be awesome. But yeah, definitely check his stuff out. I don't think he's only on Instagram. I might be wrong about that, but I think he's on multiple different platforms. Niels Index Finger says we usually do 6 p.m. Mountain Time. We'll have to look if you would be sleeping or not. We'll do a special time that works also. Mountain Time. What the hell is Mountain Time? Mountain Standard Time. Interesting. Okay, so that's MT. Never heard of that before in my life. 11:58 there now, so it's noon where you're at right now. Damn, it's like an 8-hour time difference. So if it's 6 p.m. for you, that means 6 hours from now, which is what, 2 a.m. for me. Yeah, depending on the day, that would be doable somewhat. I wouldn't mind doing that, depending on the day. So yeah, that would be 2 a.m. for me, I think. No, me neither, Latrusso. Never heard of Mountain Time before, but that's really, really cool. Now I know, I guess. Hey, Roy says, hello, Arm Historian. How do you think the crowd will be in Tbilisi? Like the American one? I have no clue, man. I'm ashamed to say I know very little of Georgian culture, so I don't know. I'm guessing the crowd will be good. I'm guessing there will be a lot of arm wrestling fans, a lot of people involved with arm wrestling, but really it's very hard for me to predict. I have no clue. My guess is it will be good, but yeah. I don't think it will be comparable to the American one necessarily, but like, just think about how the Georgian team and Georgian arm wrestlers act at events right now. They seem pretty outspoken and rowdy at times, so I'm hoping that'll kind of translate into the audience there too, right? Because being respectful is one thing, and I think that's important. But like being quiet and just sitting there, like some of the previous events that we've potentially seen in other parts of the world, I don't think that's a good thing. Limo Swine says, Mr. Arm, do all your sparring partners know that you are the Arm Historian, or is it kept a secret? Yes, most of them, if not all of them, know. A lot of people in my local scene, however, like when I go to tournaments and stuff, I don't tell them, obviously. Like, it's not when I go up to people, it's not the first thing I tell them. Like, I make arm wrestling content. But I do sometimes run into funny situations where, like a person at the last tournament I was at, a person that I'd met a couple of times before, who's also an arm wrestler in kind of the local scene here, who didn't know I was the Arm Historian, started to talk about the video I had made to me, without him actually knowing it was made by me. So That was kind of funny when after he explained to me the video, I told him, yeah, I know I made that video. So yeah, little moments like that do happen sometimes, just because it's such a tight-knit community. But in general, no, I think most of the people I pull with in competitions have no clue. Nor do they need to know, right? I don't really see a need to go telling them before we pull, like, remember, you're pulling the one and only arm historian. Like, I don't think I'll be doing that anytime soon. Now, the moment I start doing that, you can kind of slap me before the fight, right? It'll turn into a slap fight. Lat Rousseau says, Georgians in the comments said they will show up. Hopefully it's true. I hope so. It's only 3 million people in that very large country, so... yeah. Armwrestling fans says, Georgians are the loudest you will see. I hope so, man. Hey, by the way, I'm the arm historian. No big deal. Don't freak out. No pictures, please. Yeah, that's not what I do. It would be quite cringy if I did do something like that. That being said, if I run into people that I've talked to online, like Reno Masic and stuff, I ran into Reno at an event not that long ago. I will, of course, say I talked to you before as the arm historian. That only makes sense, right? But yeah, in general, I don't see a reason why someone with a 9k subscriber YouTube channel would start their interaction with I'm the arm historian. Arm Wrestling Fan says, I wonder what Levan will do. Yeah, me too. It's unfortunate that he's not pulling, right? In the Georgian East versus West. Would have loved to see it. Bobert, by the way, you said it's like the last time you asked, but I didn't see your messages before. I see someone PM'd me like, Bobert's been messaging you over and over, but yeah, I hadn't seen your messages before that one time. Really weird. Maybe it's like YouTube giving me some weird priority, some messages over others, I don't know. Sometimes I start off in top chat and then I have to switch over to live chat to see all the chats. It's not the best. It would be hard to miss you. You got a dang arm for a head. Yeah, that's true though. Although if people aren't familiar with my channel, then they will probably just think there's another one of those arm-headed people coming in to disrupt the scene. Limo Swine says, I will find you, Mr. Arm, soon. Yeah, that's not ominous at all. Lat Rousseau says, if Levan could maybe have a match for fun with his left, I think even that would be cool. I agree, that's a really good idea. I hope we see something like that at the next East vs West, although I do have my doubts. Yeah. Can you imagine if Levan would pull at East vs West in Georgia and he would actually lose? I don't know if he would even take that risk. I think a lot of people's heads would explode if that happened. This meme I also kind of love. Many of you people might not know who Martino Donny is. He's very active on the arm wrestling subreddit. And kind of a meme where he says, I believe he says you don't use tricep for pressing. And it's kind of become a big meme in the arm wrestling community. On Reddit at least. Kinda love it. Interesting. New cards have dropped. Yeah, I've seen these. Okay. Oleg versus Daniel. Interesting. Oleg versus Daniel. Wouldn't Oleg take this quite easily? Am I off that much? Isn't Daniel lighter? Weird. Yeah, I know, me too, Latrusso, unfortunately. Arm Wrestling fans said I think only ones that would take a match with Levan right now is Fetkov and Camille, yeah. Probably Sabin Bagulescu too. Yeah, that's true. I do appreciate Camille's fighting spirit, for sure. Yeah, I saw this one too. Bacho versus Brad. So Brad is officially back, I guess. Is making his way to Georgia. Interesting. I hope someday they organize East versus West in like within a reasonable traveling distance for me. I'd love to attend it one of these years, one of these months. But yeah, I don't really see it happening anytime soon. I will be making my way down to the Philippines next year somewhere in summer, probably June or something. And I'll try to do some collaborations with Filipino arm wrestling content creators. And there are quite a few of them out there, believe it or not. Quite a few big channels too, really weird. Like, I think a channel with 100k subs or something like that. Brad keeps playing with our hearts, yeah, for sure. Yeah. I thought Brad was done and out since his back injury, right? That he talked about, or like a persistent issue he's had. But apparently not. He's back. Wish him all the best, of course. Wild Trip says Arm Wrestling fan. Yeah, I'll be going with my girlfriend. Visiting all kinds of places, but definitely one of the stops I want to make is with some Pinoy arm wrestlers. I want to see how their level is over there. Let Rousseau says you think he's got good chances against Nacho. I love Nacho as a name for Bacho. Think I like it more than his regular name. I don't know, man. I think a lot of people don't give Brad a lot of chances here, but I think Brad is more experienced than Bacho, right? I definitely think he has a chance depending on kind of the shape he comes in. It's interesting that Bacho is interested in this match too. Because I think... I don't know actually. Whose stock is higher in the arm wrestling world right now? Because how much have we really seen of Bacho lately, right? Hard to say. Definitely an interesting match though. Guy Tanapat, who's that? Limo Swine. Maybe I should know him. I think Brad is more technical, says Lat Rousseau. Depends on the size of Bacho's head. Yeah, we should have head measurements back, right? Pagwaji says, excellent match. Love Bacho, but come on, man, it's Brad. Gotta root for our boy, USA. I do think, regardless of where you live or who you're rooting for, I do think Brad has a good chance of winning this one. To be honest. Brad is taking the match very seriously, says Neil's index finger, as he should. As he definitely should. I think it's a big chance for both of them. Nacho has been training consistently, says Limo Swine. Okay. Because I think the last I saw of him was like him pulling lefty at WF, I want to say. Maybe righty, I don't know. Unsure. Brad is ranked higher. He beat Matt. Yep. Makes sense to me too. He was out of training when he pulled Philip Larsen, says Niels index finger. Okay. Latrusso says, I'm rooting for Brad, but if Bacho gets into his juice box, he might be too strong. James M is a Brad supporter. Says, I don't know about you, but I voted Donald Trump, baby. That's interesting, James M. Very happy for you. Let's try to keep the politics to a minimum in chat. Yeah. People who know me personally, which a couple of people in chat do to a degree, know my opinion on this, but I don't think I need to be sharing that in an arm wrestling stream, right? I don't really know why you felt the need to share that, but you're free to, of course. Pagwaji says, last I saw of Bacho was training / practice pulling video with Bojidar. Awesome. Yeah. Where is Bojidar? How is Bojidar doing? I hope we see some more of him in the near future too. I always liked kind of his style and the way he approached his matches. Love to see more of him. But I haven't seen him for a while, I think. Did he kind of fell out of it, or maybe like personal life kind of took over? I don't know. Hard to say. Hermes Gasparini doing some 70 kilogram partial preacher curls, 4 reps there. Jeez. Such a big bar. Must be so difficult to balance that thing for single hand curls. I hope Hermes will be in top shape against Michael. He might need it. Although I still have him as the favorite. Here Malin preparing for her match. I think that has the potential to be a banger too, maybe. Iron Hellboy posting his crazy 40 kilogram full pronation. Roger Gangingham says Bojidar just pulled Tom Holland left-handed, I think. Interesting, okay. So he's still active. Maybe not at the highest echelons of the sport, but still active, right? Latruso says, are all of MMTs done on his bone lock, Mr. Arm? That's a tougher question than you might think. You meant MMTs lifts, okay. I don't know. That's my very short answer, right? I have no way of telling if it's actually a bone lock or not, and I think people who claim they know for sure one way or the other are just talking out of their ass a little. Like, how can you even tell? I'm sure you can claim to tell, but I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think it's necessarily as quote-unquote easy as some people think to just hold someone on a bone lock. Or hold like a giant weight on a bone lock alone. Latruso says, I think it's obvious. Of course I love talking out of my ass. Yeah, I think, how would you even know, right? Pagwaji says, Hermes should have all the tools to defeat MMT. I think he will be able to press through the Beans move. Yep. I think so too, honestly. Especially considering since they've pulled before. And Hermes certainly hasn't become a worse puller. In fact, I think he's become significantly better since then. And stronger. So, in my opinion, Hermes will win, but Michael has surprised me before, and I don't think it'll necessarily be a very easy win. Yeah, you could argue a lot of things about it, Latruso. At the end of the day, I have no clear way of knowing whether he's using an actual bone lock. And also, frankly, to be honest, I don't know if it should really matter. I don't really know how you would even start to ref something like that. If you would say bone lock needs to be against the rules, how would you even start reffing something like that? How would the ref determine whether the athlete is using a bone lock or not? Have to install X-ray machines or something. Alatrusosef says if it's only bone lock, he would never lose against weaker opponents. Yeah. I don't know. I have my doubts if it's only a bone lock. I don't think that's necessarily true. There's plenty of arm wrestlers whose arms are locked in a certain position, but I can't use that move can't use that move in any reasonable way, so... Arm Wrestling fan says it's hard to pin MT without your hand, kinda important. Yeah, I agree there. It's hard to pin anyone without a hand, to be honest. But yeah, I'm guessing that goes double for MMT. Pulling without my hand, man, it's really tricky for me still. Not that I'm some pro arm wrestler, but even after years of pulling, I still have a hard time pulling without my hand just because I'm a pretty hand-dominant puller myself, and if you rely so much on your hand, after a while, if you're in a position where you don't have it anymore, in my personal experience, it's really hard to pull that way. Of course, I have training partners who are very comfortable pulling without their hand, and they're kind of a nightmare to go up against. So there are definitely many ways of pulling without hand control, obviously. Latrusso says even Krasi has a similar issue as MMT. Yeah, you could say that. But so you're saying Krasimir relies on a bone lock too for his hook? Or... Limo Swine says, what do you think, who do you think has a better flop press? Gennady or Hermes? Probably Gennady. Technically better, I don't know if it's more powerful necessarily. But probably Gennady. German Game says, just a little question about training. Do you think it makes sense to train side pressure when I don't really pull? Sometimes, or do you think it does more damage than good? I personally don't train side pressure. Maybe it's some gaping hole in my arsenal, that might be the case, but training side pressure never felt good to me in any way. And I know, like, starting new lifts and starting training specific new muscles or new muscle groups is always a little arduous and isn't supposed to feel good straight away. But I don't think I've done a lot of exercises that felt so actively bad as training side pressure, the way I sometimes see it recommended online. So personally, I train very little side pressure, of the table, that is. On the table itself, I do make sure I try to be mindful of my side pressure, if that makes sense. Especially off the go, I think getting your opponent off center as quickly as possible might be helped a lot of the times with some applied side pressure. That's my opinion, just based on my personal experience on the table. That pivotal moment of the ready go, if you can apply a little side pressure together with your move, I think that helps a lot, just getting your opponent on the losing side right away. So I do think there's probably value in training side pressure off the table. I just, personally for me, I haven't found a way that actually felt good to me or felt healthy in any way. So probably I won't be training it a lot outside of the table unless I reach some level where I feel like I need to like kind of shore it up a little bit. Latrusso says, hey Mr. Arm, don't put words in my mouth. I would never accuse Krasi of bone lock usage. That's fair enough. I thought you said even Krasi has a similar issue as MMT, but that might be referring to a number of things, right? Chris H says, Larry or Shaw, who wins? I'm assuming you're talking about Brian Shaw instead of Chan Shaw, which probably Chance would win pretty easily against Larry. But if you're talking about Brian Shaw, I don't know, man. I think Larry right now is so much... Larry's probably a better technical arm wrestler, you would think, right, than Brian Shaw. But I think Larry is probably removed so much from arm wrestling right now, and he's talked about how he's felt a couple of things that have made him kind of afraid in a way to arm wrestle. like afraid of accruing serious injuries while arm wrestling, that I might have to give it to Brian right now. But yeah, I'd want to see that match. Limo Swine says, I think training side pressure once in a while is useful to not get injured if the opponent just drives sideways. That kind of makes sense, although I would argue that combating side pressure with side pressure isn't necessarily the best way, right? If your opponent is just driving sideways, you can just go backwards, right? To me, like, the way to combat extreme side pressure, isolated side pressure from your opponent, is just pull him out of it using back pressure. At least that's what I do. Like keeping my pronation alive and using a lot of back pressure. Usually if inexperienced opponents just drive straight sideways, usually you can pull them out just by having some hand control and using back pressure. At least I can. Gian says, hey guys. Hey Gian, how you doing? Welcome. Limo Swine says, Krasi has similar issues, as in he cannot close his elbow joint much. That's why his hook is so open instead of being compact. Yeah, makes sense. German Game thinks Shaw would win. She's just a good bit bigger. Definitely has some technique. Yeah, probably Shaw would take it in my opinion too, but I can see it being close. Niels Index Finger says, side pressure in the gym should be started very light and gradually increase the weight. J Empress has helped the elbows or skull crushers, and I focused them before I started hitting side pressure. Yeah, I've been doing skull crushers for a while, not necessarily for arm wrestling purposes, but just because coincidentally a training partner of mine who I went to the gym with did them a lot, so I kind of started doing them too. And J Empresses can help with elbow issues. Like personally for me, like I said, I train my side pressure on the table, trying to incorporate it in the way I pull sometimes in key moments, but off the table I rarely, if ever, train it. But yeah, that's a personal thing. I can see how you need to start very light and increase the weight, like with most lifts, but I can see how that would be even more important when training something that's potentially pretty fragile like side pressure. Lat Rousseau says, I think any movement can be safe, just don't let your ego go crazy. I definitely agree there. We've had a lot of people show up for the very first time for arm wrestling training, and I think the main mistake that they make is letting their ego get the best of them and not wanting to take a single pin, right? And that's not the kind of mentality you should go into training with. It's fine if you have that mentality in a tournament, although even then I would argue that's probably not a realistic mentality, but if it works for you, whatever. But when going into training, just try to focus on getting more smooth, especially in the start. A lot of people try to not get pinned or try to prove they're strong enough to hang in there, even when using little to no technique, and I think that's where a lot of people get hurt or kind of get disillusioned with what competitive arm wrestling is, because we've had a lot of people come in for the first time and never again afterwards, right? It's also a learning process for more experienced pullers, or when you're in a small club or something like myself. I wouldn't really call myself and my training partners a club, but we do get some more people in now and then. And I think it's something to learn as a more experienced puller when you're pulling with someone who's trying it for the first time. Like, put extra emphasis on it's okay not to pin someone and it's okay to get pinned, stuff like that, right? Don't be afraid as an experienced arm wrestler to get pinned by those people either. I think it's better if maybe that person feels a little stronger or a little better at arm wrestling than they truly are the first time they try it, than it is to just show them how strong and good you are, right? In general, I think it's more motivating to give them a little something. Tomer says, for me, jam presses only flare up my elbows. It's funny, right? Because it goes for strength training in general, I think. How a lot of it is down to a person's very unique physique often. what works best for them, or like even on the mental side, like a person's mindset. I think some lifts are better suited for certain people, but especially for arm wrestling, it's still such a young sport, and the training is still so scattered, in my opinion, and like the best training techniques, that it's even more obvious there that like every person has their own opinion on what works best for them. Even at the pro level, it's like there's no one way of training that works the best, right? And I hope it's something that, I also think it's a natural consequence of becoming a bigger sport, but I truly hope that we put some effort into creating a more unified way of training as the sport grows larger, because I think for a lot of new people, it's very daunting when you first get into arm wrestling and you're trying to figure out what is the best way to get into it, what are the best ways to train, and you get 1,000 different opinions from 1,000 different people. It gets very daunting very quickly. So I think it is a worthwhile thing to put effort into as a community, you know, trying to find a way that might not be the best quote-unquote way, but the best way for as many people as possible who are getting into the sport. Niels Index Finger says back pressure is a side pressure killer, but the same can be said sometimes with side pressure beating back pressure. I think there is so many factors like direction, cup pronation, and rise. Yes, also kind of follows neatly to what I was just saying, like if you take all the different lifts people recommend and say are the best for arm wrestling, and then you have to translate that on a table where there's even more options and more angles and more ways of attacking and defending, that issue, quote unquote, gets exponentially bigger, right? So yeah, very complicated, can be very daunting for new people, which is a hurdle we kind of need to try to overcome, I think, as a community. Hey, cheers, arm wrestling fan. I'll drink to that. Drinking some rum here. Tomer says, I've heard Todd Hutchings loves the JM press. Yes, he does, indeed. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Niels Index Finger, we're all different. Takes a long time to get to a high level. It's also like it's also a product of the sport being young, right? To a degree, I think. If you just look at it from a statistical perspective, if the sport would exponentially grow and the amount of things that are tried would also grow with that, the amount of different training methods and stuff like that, I think it would evolve naturally into a kind of survival of the fittest of training methods, if that makes sense, right? The training method that works for the largest amount of people would float to the top in an organic way if you have enough people participating. But right now, I don't think we're really at that point. Troy Tueller says, yeah, there is this weird tendency to overwhelm newcomers with info. It happens all the time at my practice, too many people saying too much. The guy doesn't remember any of it the day after. Yeah, I've definitely been guilty of that too. It's important as more experienced guys to kind of be aware of that. I think that's a very good point. German Game says, oh, another question about training. Do you think for me as a top roller, pronation should be trained in a full range? Or does it make sense to mainly train the more pronated half like I do it right now? That's tough for me to answer once again. I can only tell you what worked best for me. Pronation is something that I very rarely isolate to a large degree during training. Some people talk about training their pronator muscle. That's not something I necessarily do. Do I do lifts where I use pronation? Yes, but probably, like you mentioned here, it's probably a little bit of a larger range, and usually when I do like very pronation based lifts, I do them on the table with a pulley system, so that I'm still getting the right angle and the right movement. But for things like cupping, my cupping, for example, I isolate pretty hard. Sometimes there's also like a downwards dragging motion involved with the cupping, but usually I try to isolate my cupping pretty hard. So yeah, there's a ton of different ways to go about it, right? But I feel like a motion such as a pronating motion, when you're using it, like when you're training it, it should be in function of the movement you do on the table, I feel like. While cupping is, even on the table, is a pretty isolated movement, usually. Not always, but usually. Limoswine says, since side pressure is mainly joint dependent, I train it differently. That makes sense. Using a viscoelastic stretch, slowly improving the tendons and ligaments over time. I'm a big fan of bands. If that's kind of what you're pointing to. I use a lot of bands, and indeed I do use it to kind of warm up my side pressure before I train or go to a tournament. Latrusso says, or Larry, when he invited everyone in Dubai, he seemed more lost in the arm wrestling sauce the more people helped him. Yeah, it's hard, like as a more experienced puller, it's very hard not to, because you see starting pullers do so many things wrong, like the way they move their body and the way they position their body, the way they position their feet under the table, the way they put their elbow on the table, the way they hardly ever move when they're pulling. Like there's 1,000 things you could start off critiquing, so to speak, in new arm wrestlers, but yeah, it can be very daunting, and especially for someone that is very, very new to the sport. I don't think that's the best way to go about it. Troy says, I made a YouTube video talking about how I think you should teach newcomers. I tend to be the guy that trains the new guys at Bob Brown's practice. Training new people can be hard. Awesome. Troy, give Bob Brown a hello from me. We recently had a small talk, although I had very little time to get into it, but I think he's looking for some help to promote his next tournament, and he asked me to help too, so I'd be very willing to help there where I can. So give him a little hello from me, and tell him to hit me up again. You can't get philosophical too soon. Yeah, maybe. Thanks for that, by the way. Yeah, maybe. It's better to talk to new people in more abstract ways, right? Like try and think, like use terms like, or use phrases like try and think going backwards instead of going sideways, or try and focus on your hand movements, or try and focus on getting as high as possible with your hand, or instead of really getting really technical soon, maybe it's better to talk in those kinds of ways. Power Nick, how you doing, says, just tuned in, who do you have in this matchup? I'm assuming you're talking about Michael Todd and Hermes Gasparini. I have Hermes as the favorite, but I can definitely see it being a war, and I wouldn't be super surprised if Michael beat Hermes. But I don't think it'll be easy either way, no matter who wins, so yeah. Yeah, Bob Brown seems to be a guy who's genuinely passionate about the sport and has been in the sport for a very long time, so yeah, definitely a well of knowledge there. I like Bob Brown. In general, I don't really know him personally, of course, but he seems like a good guy who has the sport's best interest at heart, so if he's involved with creating a tournament or an event of some kind, I'd love to help in any way possible. But I think it has the potential to be a good one, right? Let me quickly check on something here. Okay. I've been live for 2 hours and 20 minutes now. I think we're closing in on like a new record or something, but I'll be taking a quick 1 minute break here. I'll be back really soon. I'll run a quick ad too, and show some shorts, but I'll be back really soon, guys. Apologies for this. Just need to take a quick 1 minute break.
with a
Take care of
sizable
some
number
things.
of people voting for Travis Bajent, and over half of respondents claiming the Russian juggernaut Denis Siplenkov is the true left-arm greatest of all time. Which of course begs the question,
I've been sick since Dubai, but I'm starting to feel good now.
Yeah, you feel good, right? Yeah.
I'm feeling better. I
Yes.
still have a little bit of a cough, but I'm feeling a lot better. By the end of March, in April, I'll be something that I've never been before. I'm pretty confident saying that. Pretty confident. Yeah.
Anyone who knows you knows that you have plans. Levan is also, I think that he will be even probably better than before. But the only thing is that like we all have injuries, Devon. And he also experienced an injury and he was smart enough to not to push it, not to rush it, he took his time. But where you are hitting and where he had the problems is the same point.
I would personally be extremely embarrassed if I lost a match where I had hand control.
who's that arm wrestler?
Here we go. And I'm back. Thank you for your patience, guys. The live stream as long as this one, I do need to take a quick break every now and then. Lat Rousseau says, not just that, but the way you explain things makes sense even to my A-brain. Limo Swine says, out of topic, my succulent is dying. How do I propagate it? It's succulents to me aren't easy plants to take care of because it's very easy to over water them, in my opinion. And they're easy to develop molds and stuff like that. Maybe I'm just really bad at taking care of plants, but that's been my experience. Tomer says, I don't have a practice, so I have managed to get some fluidity back by practicing in a mirror, because I know what all of the moves are meant to look like from YouTube. It's quite easy to coordinate myself like that. That's awesome. Get practices in any way you can. The only thing I would say is be a little careful of building up a false sense of accomplishment or confidence off of that. While I do think it can be very helpful, taking a look at your own training footage, looking at yourself in the mirror while doing certain moves can be very helpful. Try and keep in mind that it's never going to compare one-to-one to the real thing, right? Limo Swine says, Bob Brown is one of my favorites for arm wrestling theory and nuances. He has great tips and insights, I agree. Lat Rousseau says, you washing your hands, mister? Those breaks are suspiciously quick. I did not wash my hands this time because I didn't go to the toilet. I went to get a little more drink here. I got kind of dehydrated. No toilet break for me this time. But thanks for looking out, Lat Rousseau. I am, in general, a very hygienic boy. Arm Wrestling Fan says, never watered mine or the cactus, they live on condensation. That makes sense. Like I said, I've had several hiccups with succulents where I overwatered them. I know better now, but yeah, that has been an issue in the past. Tomer says, yeah, I know it's not the real thing. Another thing I do, I pretend my left pinky is a thumb and grip up and try things like that. But I can tell I could benefit from the real deal for sure, Tomer. Yeah, for sure. But you gotta get in your training and your practice however you can, right? So if that means grabbing onto your pinky finger as if it's another guy's hand, then go for it. Lat Rousseau said, oh, succulent is a plant. My mom gifted me 2 plants a few years. Both died quite quickly. Yeah, there's like a big difference in what kind of plant, right? Some plants are way more resistant to overwatering or underwatering than other plants. And I think succulents especially are very sensitive to overwatering. German Game says, hey, just a quick question in the chat. Any South Germans here who are searching for a training partner? Yeah, German Game, I believe, is the guy that contacted me before about finding a place for him to train in South Germany. Unfortunately, there aren't that many places there as far as I know. And I believe my guy is desperately looking for some training partners that are within a reasonable distance. So spread the word if you haven't, and help German Game to find a training partner. Hey Chuck, how you doing, man? Good to see you. Chuck, been a great help lately in researching some upcoming videos. Hope you're doing well and having some good holidays there, Chuck. Yeah, I thought so, German Game. I recognized you. Tomer says, in the UK, arm wrestling is not really a thing, but I wouldn't want to compete for several years. Arm wrestling is definitely a thing in the UK, Tomer. Definitely a thing. There's quite a bit of clubs, even, in the UK. Hey, Niels Index Finger, see you next time, man. And hit me up about appearing in your podcast, or if you ever want to do a collab of a different nature or something, or if I can ever help you with you guys' channel, let me know, man. Thanks for the membership. I appreciate it a lot. And yeah, hit me up for sure. Chuck out. See you next year. See you next year, Chuck. Hope you have a wonderful new year. Yeah, hope the celebration is awesome. And I'll definitely talk to you soon. Your area is kind of boring, says Tomer. Yeah, I can... Okay. It's kind of a... Where I'm at, it's kind of a wasteland too. I think the closest practice is like an hour away or something. Which isn't that bad, to be fair. A lot of people travel a lot further than I do. But yeah, usually when I practice, it's with 2 local guys who I've been practicing with a long time. And then sometimes more people join. But that's not like a... I train once to twice a week with 2 training partners who I've been training with from the start, and then there's several people who rotate in and out throughout the year. Sometimes we've had close to 10 people before, but yeah, sometimes it's only 2 or 3 guys. So. Yeah, and like Troy says here, you kind of have to spread the seed of arm wrestling, so to speak, right? Kind of have to talk people into it sometimes, kind of get people excited about it, maybe introduce them to the sport. I know when I go to the gym with one of my training partners and we do arm wrestling specific lifts, a lot of the time, well, not a lot of the time, but some of the time, people will approach us and kind of ask questions, right, about what kind of lifts are you doing, what sports are you guys doing, stuff like that. So yeah, you definitely need to coax some people into trying it. And I think the strength communities is a good way to start, right? Because a lot of people obviously have no clue that arm wrestling is an actual sport. Still they don't. So yeah, those are interesting topics, and I also think pretty important topics. How do we introduce new people to the sport, and once they're there trying it, how do we get them to stay, right? It kind of sounds scummy the way I'm putting it, like how do we get them to stay? How do we manipulate them into staying? But I think it's more like, how do we make them feel as welcome as possible into the community, and make their transition into a new sport as gentle as possible. Because in my experience, a lot of the times that's what scares a lot of people off is the extreme joint pain they experience after the first session. And I think that's something that can be largely remedied. Not completely, obviously. You're gonna have that with any new sport you try out that requires new muscles or joints or tendons to be used. But I do think we can do potentially a better job at making that transition as smooth as possible for new people. Like, I kind of dislike the saying of 10 years of pain. Is that kind of how you need to pay your dues in arm wrestling? I don't think that's true at all. If you're just a little smarter with your training, it doesn't require 10 years of pain at all. Troy says the sport is growing. I've had people approach me at the gym because I'm wearing an arm wrestling shirt. Then they ask if there's a practice nearby. People are aware, just not many. Yep. Mostly it's people within the strength community, right? I've had moments before where people look at me strange when I mention the hobby I do. It only makes sense. I can't blame the people. Like my doctor even looked at me funny when I had like a wrist injury I told them about, and they asked me how did I get it. I said arm wrestling and they looked at me weird, so I can't really blame them. Lat Russo says glad people are asking and talking, not just filming to mock you online. Yeah, for sure. That's better. I don't think, like, to be fair, over where I'm at, where I live, in general, people don't like being filmed. It's also against the law to film people in public without their consent here. So yeah, I think in general you see very little people filming in the gym. It's like a rarity to see even one person filming where I go to train sometimes. So, and if they do, it's very clearly just filming themselves and like just for their own purposes, not like some Instagram thing or something. So in that sense, I think it's a good thing that there's not like a camera culture like that here. But in another way, it makes some things a little more difficult, right? Because suppose I would want to film a man on the street arm wrestling video, like where I would go to a busy area and basically post up like schoolboy and say 100 euros to the person who can beat this human arm or something like that, right? It makes it very difficult to actually film and post it. So yeah, there is that. Maybe I'll travel to another country and try it there if I ever want to make that kind of content. Gods of War says that in the 90s in arm wrestling and the amount of work is so much to be at top level that if the guy doesn't want it, no amount of convincing him to stay will. Not everyone has strong willpower. Yeah, but that's kind of... that sounds a little gatekeepy to me, because why would every person that tries to arm wrestle or wants to get good at arm wrestling want to reach the top level? I don't think that's... Like, imagine you would go to a running club and you would start running and the coach is like, you already stopped after an hour of running? I thought you wanted to be better than Usain Bolt, or I thought you wanted to compete at the Olympics. Like, get out of here. That doesn't make sense, right? So I think people that just want to casually arm wrestle and learn the sport and maybe sometime down the line do a tournament, or maybe even not that, should have a place in the sport too, right? And should be encouraged to try the sport too. I think the whole mentality of your willpower is too weak if you don't want to get to the top of the elites or something. I don't know if that's really conducive to making new people feel welcome in the sport. I got this injury by pulling multiple guys, doc. Yeah, I should have said that. Would have been less surprising probably to the doctor than arm wrestling. Doc, I was hooking with a strong guy. We had the strap on and he smashed me to the pads. That's how my wrist got injured, doc. Yeah. He pinned me real good. German Game says, I think you are Polish. You have a little bit of a similar accent to Coach Ray. Am I right about that? I'm not Polish and neither is Coach Ray, by the way. I think Coach Ray is Latvian. But yeah, I'm not Polish. Tortillo says, be honest, do you all ever look around at the gym and wonder who you could beat? Yes. I definitely do. Arm wrestling fans says it's a weird extreme having countries where it's legal to film in public and a couple European where it's illegal. How does tourism work? It's iffy, you know. I filmed before in public, and if you're respectful about it, probably you won't get into any trouble. But if someone wants to make a real issue out of it, there are ways through the law in which they can, right? So I think it all depends on your approach. They can make your life difficult if you film them without permission. Yeah. So it's not, if you approach it in the right way, I'm sure I could do it in my country without getting into too much trouble or something like that. But it's always something extra to be aware of. I can't just go onto the street and start filming random people without having them give their consent and then publish it. You know what I mean? Yeah, indeed, can be helped. Tomer says, I don't think the problem is willpower. Some people just don't want to put their will towards arm wrestling, but other things like their own hobby or work. Yeah, of course. It goes without saying, I think, Tomer, some people have different preferences. We can't expect everyone in the world to become an arm wrestler or have any interest in arm wrestling. I'm just saying we should, for people who have an interest in strength sports or martial arts or just arm wrestling, we should make the point of entry as easy as possible for people who want to try it at any level, to me. Limo Swine says, my club has 3 people. One is a national champ and the other is a beginner coming from a calisthenics background. Insanely strong but no technique. Recently he started beating me. Feels bad, man. Yeah, those calisthenics guys are real. My 2 training partners that I train with the most both have a background in calisthenics. One of them actually have quite an extensive background in calisthenics. And definitely really strong guys. Yeah, good grips and like a good muscle-mind connection in my opinion. They moved smoothly very quickly. Rhodesian! Now there's a name I haven't heard in a while. I don't think Rhodesia is even the going name anymore, is it? Isn't that Zanzibar or something now? Rhodesia? Or something? I can't quite remember. What is Rhodesia now? Now I need to know. Is it still a country? No, Zimbabwe. Yeah, that's what it was. I knew it was an African country starting with a Z, but yeah, Zimbabwe. Latrousseau says raised from Latvia, which I thought was a fictional country for too long a time. Okay. Troy Chiller says, by the way, army story, not sure if you remember, but I brought up Living to Pull on a previous live stream of yours. I watched it the other day, not bad. More heart than I expected, just a very low budget. Yeah, I do remember, Troy, and it's still on my watch list. It's on my literal watch list. It's not just in my mind, it's on there. And I'm definitely gonna look at it. Maybe I can convince one of my training partners to watch it with me during training or something like that. Would be a good idea. But thanks for reminding me again. Ian Bars Eagle, no, I don't think I've heard of that. An insane calisthenics athlete who has done some arm wrestling apparently. He can beat the Belgium champ, but I'm not sure what weight class the champ was. Yeah, I'd be interested in hearing who the Belgian champ is in your opinion, or in that guy's opinion. Because I was at the Belgian Nationals this year. So I do think I know most of the top guys in Belgium. Know most of them. I am one of them. No, that's not true. Arm Wrestling fan says, what beers do you drink from where you hail? All of them. Basically, like beer is one of our main exports and one of the main things we're known for, I think, as a country. Have a ton of different beers here. Ton of local breweries, often based on like monasteries and stuff like that. Heavy beers are very popular here, like triples and doubles. Pills, all kinds of pills are very popular here too. Thousands of brands. Just a very beer-centric culture. We like our wines too, but yeah, beer definitely rules supreme here. Top Troll King says, I put my will into arm wrestling memes and I will never train arm wrestling. I don't want to have crippled T-Rex arms, just like I don't want to spar in boxing. That makes sense. And I think our sport needs to have fans who don't arm wrestle too, just like any other sports, right? I enjoy the occasional basketball game, watching it, and I used to enjoy playing basketball, but I don't think I will play anything other than some casual shooting at the hoop with my friends anymore, right? So Limo Swine says he beat Dries. Yeah, that's good. Who hasn't, right? At this point, no, I'm kidding. Dries Vermans, good arm wrestler, nice guy. Organized the tournament I got first place in not too long ago. Organizes one of the biggest, or at least one of the toughest tournaments of the area here. People from all kinds of countries come down to that tournament and try to do well in it. Prudnik was the winner a couple of years ago, I believe. 2 years ago or something. Troy says, to my mind, there are 4 professionally made films about arm wrestling, 3 of them being narratives. Then there are the documentaries on YouTube. Might be. Yeah, there are quite a few, right? Recently, like, I know I've made a video on this, so I should kind of know them. But there's the Korean movie, then there's the American movie of the 2 women, or the woman who tries arm wrestling. I haven't even watched that one. Didn't really seem that interesting to me, but maybe I should. Over the Top is another one. Now, what's the 4th one you're thinking of? Pulling John, maybe the one that's not a narrative, the way you put it, or maybe that's, you would put that under a documentary, but yeah, Coach Ray is Latvian. Yeah, we do appreciate our beers a lot here. Yeah, there you go. So those are the 4 I'm talking about. I think Golden Arm the one from the US, like the most recent one? I enjoyed Champion. A lot of people don't like it, but I enjoyed it. Yeah. I'm gonna get cancelled because I said I don't like women's arm wrestling, right? No, I actually like women's arm wrestling. I wish more women would get involved into arm wrestling. I think that would be one of the main hallmarks of our sport doing good, would be bigger women's leagues. A Predator with Arnold. Over the Top is not bad. It's so bad it's good, right? It's one of those very cheesy, very typical 80s movies to me. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know either, Latrusso. Probably it would still be funny if you watch it under the right circumstances, right? I could see watching it with some friends would be an enjoyable experience. Which rum are you enjoying, Mr. Arms' Limo Swine? Don Papa, which is Filipino rum. Really good rum, my favorite rum. And I've also got some pretty generic, but still good Captain Morgan Spiced Gold. But yeah, in general, my favorite rum is Don Papa. Not necessarily one singular flavor of Don Papa, I like them all pretty much. If you were ever looking to try out a rum, I would definitely recommend Don Papa. It's not like super expensive. It's not cheap either, but it's not like the top of the rums. But it's very good in my opinion. Very smooth. Troy says, I'm picky with film. I find Over the Top important for the history of the sport, but as a film I don't like it. Yeah, I can see if you're approaching it as like a film critic in a way, then maybe it's not the best movie in the history of the world, right? An arm wrestling fan doesn't like new movies, so yeah, that would exclude a lot of the new arm wrestling movies too. German Game says, are you Czech? No, I am not Czech. German Game, but good guess though. Good guess. Bro still trying to guess. I'm fine with him guessing. It's kind of been a running gag on the channel anyway since I first started making videos People have commented all kinds of things. I know one guy thought I was of Transylvanian descent because I sounded like a vampire. So there you go. Arm historian vampire confirmed. German Game says they are strong beer drinkers. Yeah, that's true. The Czech people are strong beer drinkers. Best beer in Czech, but nope. Keep guessing. I would fight you on that, arm wrestling fan, but I won't. I disagree. Top Troll King says women arm wrestling will be popular with tube top uniform. Yeah. Possibly, but I don't think that should necessarily be the direction we take women's arm wrestling in. I think it should just be equated with men's arm wrestling. Latrusso says there's definitely still good movies being made, but I definitely enjoy discovering old movies for sure. A lot of classics are classics for a good reason. And even though it might turn you off to certain movies or books or whatever, just because there's such a large amount of people who proclaim it as a classic, it might turn you off a little bit. But I think a lot of them are good and are classics because they are good. German Game says we all know the German beer is the best, right? I don't know, man. I know you guys have a very strong beer culture, but I'm very biased, obviously, but I do feel like the best beers that I've consumed have been beers from my own country. Latrusso says, my first guess was you were Dutch. You definitely don't sound Transylvanian. Yeah, Dutch is getting closer. I do speak Dutch as my native tongue. Yeah, that was my first language, Dutch. And then French, technically, I guess, was my second language, and then English, but it's not like I'm super fluent in French or something. Though I did have to speak it in school and to some capacity on a professional level, but it's not like I do a lot anymore. Troy says, I hope the Devon Larratt documentary gets released sooner rather than later. I'm hoping that sheds a good light on the sport. We need people to view the sport more seriously. Yeah, I do agree. I wonder what kind of angle they're taking with the whole documentary. I've been waiting on it for a long time too, so I think a lot of people deep within the community are holding their breath for it, right? I'm still waiting for the first documentary to be released on any of the major streaming networks. I think even Pulling John has potential, maybe with a little edits here and there, to be put on something like Netflix or something. I think it could do reasonably well if it's packaged in the right way. But yeah, I do hope someday soon we'll have an arm wrestling documentary on one of the major streaming services. I think that would be a major boost to our sports popularity. Troll King. I'll pass on that subject. Troy says, I hope the Devon Larratt documentary gets released sooner rather than later. I'm hoping that sheds a good light on the sport. We need people. Yeah, I already read that comment, of course. I'm getting tired, it seems. Arm wrestling fan says, I'm not biased. Swedish beer is piss. Danish is even worse. Wait until you try Dutch beer. I hate Heineken. I really dislike most of the beers from the Netherlands, I'm gonna be honest. I'll apologize to my Dutch brethren, but yeah, not a big fan of Dutch beer. Clearly, Arm Historian is from Texas. Yeah, I am from Texas, of course. Troy Tueller, originally, as you can tell from my accent. That is where I grew up. In Austin, Texas. Spending my time on the ranches. Straddling bull. And owning guns. Yes. Top Troll King says Devon Larratt documentary is a meme at this point. It kinda is, right? German Game says, are you more northern or southern from Poland? I am more southern from Poland. Tomer says, Arm Historian, I'm curious. I know where you are from, but I wonder, do you know who Duke William I, William the Conqueror was? I'm studying history. I know he was around your region. Yes, of course. William the Conqueror is a very famous person. We call him William de Veroveraar, which just means conqueror. Yeah, he's a very famous person here from medieval ages, right? If I remember my history correct. I think he was the first Norman king in over in the UK, right? Or I guess it would be England then. So yeah, famous person. That entire like period in history is covered pretty well here in school, I feel like. Arm wrestling fans is, yeah, I don't need Heineken. Nobody needs Heineken. We have a joke here, a local joke, where Heineken is like the runoff of the good beers. Like the leftovers of the good beers when the tank is too dirty. Just the runoff water of the good beers. I'm not from Slovakia, German game. I'm not from Slovakia. Dutch guy hating on his own people's beer. Wow, I'm not a Dutch guy, Lat Rousseau. I just speak the language. I'm not a Dutch guy. Hey Troy Tueller, see you later, man. It's been good to have you. Yes, the Dutch accent is different. We can understand each other, of course, because we speak the same language as the people from the Netherlands, but their accent is quite substantially different from mine. He's Dutch to me, that's fine. Lat Rousseau might as well be. I'm pretty close to the Dutch border and I often go there anyway, so yeah. Hey Ryder MI, thank you for subscribing, I appreciate it. You're in the chat right now, or if you're just subscribing to a video and will never hear this message, I still appreciate it. Yeah, I think I'm nearing the end of the stream, nearing the end of my voice. I've been online for nearly 3 hours now, which has to be some kind of a new record, I think. But yeah, I did have a lot of fun. I did enjoy it a lot. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your holidays. Get a lot of arm wrestling in there. Despite probably being too stuffed with food to even get on the table. I know I was. Ryder MI, thank you so much for subscribing. I'm glad you enjoy my videos and thanks for chiming in and taking a look at my live stream. I go live every Sunday. I will be going live next Sunday too, in the brand new year of 2025. I'll try to release a new video, possibly before the year is over and otherwise at the very start of the year. Yeah, so look forward to that. I'm also working on 2 other big videos along with a regular viewer of mine who has graciously offered to help out with the research. So yeah, that is something to look forward to too. Top Turtle King, yeah man, Godspeed, have a happy new year too. I hope every one of you has a very good new year. Stay healthy, don't drink too much, and if you do drink, don't drive. Keep that in mind. And yeah, other than that, just have fun, right? I'm not Bulgarian, German game. I'm not Bulgarian. Yeah, I am. My country is very close to your country. We are neighbors in a sense. And your language is an official language in my country too. German is an official language where I live too, although only spoken by a very small minority of people. That's the last hint I'll give there. No, I don't live in that weirdly split border. I think you're referring potentially to Neutral Morrisnet or something like that, where after World War II, I believe it was, they couldn't really decide what to do with a contested piece of land between Germany, Luxembourg and Belgium or something like that. And then they made it like an independent piece of land. This is a huge tangent, but I'm not from there. But yeah, I appreciate you guys for guessing. You'll get it next year, Mr. German Game. Yes, you will. Not a lot of possibilities left there. Yeah, guys, I'll talk to you soon. Have a good one. Have a good night. And have a good rest of your year. See you in 2025. Arm Historian for the last time in 2024. Out. Bye-bye, guys.